Hi everyone, Sheila Butler with Successful Women Talk. Want to say thanks so much for joining me today. And on the show today we have guest Luly B. She is a marketing expert, Cuban American entrepreneur, author, wife, and mom. So welcome, Luly.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to spend a few minutes with you today.
Well, thank you. I certainly appreciate it. I think I learned about you from, oh gosh, I found your book somehow. I don't remember. I really love talking about work-life success, work-life rhythm, and I found your book, which is, I have it right here on my iPad, Balance is BS.
Bleep.
Beep. So we will talk about that in just a bit. But, I like to first start off with the guests and learn a little bit more about you. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and your business and how that helped you get to where you are today?
Sure. Well, I actually got my career start in nonprofit, and I think that really helped me. I studied marketing and communications, and working in nonprofit, I really learned the power of doing more with less. I was there for several years at the American Red Cross. I even served as an international spokesperson because I'm fully bilingual. I was very early on in my career, had opportunities to speak on live international television, representing the Red Cross internationally. And I also learned a lot about marketing and events and raising money and sponsorships, and not really realizing the power that all of that was going to have later on down the road. I left there and worked at Warner Brothers, this great corporate job, became pregnant with my first son. And while I was at Warner Brothers, I had a really cool job because I was working with a sales team nationwide. We were producing the first ever music curriculum that was developed by an actual music company. So it was very cutting edge and very interesting. And I got a chance to learn all about, the marketing versus sales in corporate and the way that, corporate works. Got such great experience. But when I became pregnant with my first son, I was nervous about what flexibility I was going to get. It was far from my house, and how I was really going to feel as a mom. So coincidentally, while I was on maternity leave, I was approached by my alma mater, Florida International University, to take a job at the Entrepreneurship Center as Director of Marketing and Communications. That job, although I received a substantial pay cut, was 15 minutes away from home, had great, fantastic benefits, and a very flexible boss. And so I took that job, did some wonderful things. I was planning, about 40 events a month, all kinds of seminars and conferences, a lot of media relations, getting the president of the university on a lot of talk shows because we were doing some really cutting edge entrepreneurship reports and studies and conferences, all kinds of really interesting things. Had my second son. And you see, attending all these seminars and conferences that I was producing, I was learning more and more about entrepreneurship. And after I had my second son, I kind of felt a little stuck. I felt, I've crashed through the glass ceiling. I'm not really being challenged. I love what I do. And am I being a brat because I want more? Because so many women would love to have such a flexible job, and it was comfortable, but I wanted more, Sheila. And I struggled with that. So I had my second son, and when he was 6 months old, I took the entrepreneurial plunge. So here I was with a 6-month-old and a 2.5-year-old, and I said, here I go. I am going to have the life. I'm going to have my own business. I'm going to work out in the mornings. I'm going to have a couple of clients, do a lot of great nonprofit work, pick up my kids at school, and just, have it all, because I'm going to balance, right? I'm going to balance. And I actually have this wonderful marketing company called Chispa Marketing. And you see, my dream was, or my vision was, just have a couple clients. It'll pay the bills and it'll keep me happy, but I'll also be able to be a mom. Well, within 6 weeks of starting my company, I was hired by the largest college in the United States, one of the largest wine festivals in the world, a local nonprofit, a local photographer, and the largest real estate agency in the state. So here I was with 5 humongous clients. Yeah, I had no clue what I was doing. I didn't know how to write an agreement, how to pitch, absolutely clueless. And here I went again with, I'm so blessed. How many millions of people would love to have this problem, right? So for several years, I had to learn how to, substantially grow my business, how to hire the right employees, the right team, what kinds of things that I should outsource versus stay in, and throughout that entire process, how do I remain a good mother and wife? Because at the end of the day, that was the reason why I started my business. So I've had my marketing business for 7 years. Last year, I made substantial changes to it because I realized that I wanted more. And I didn't want to be the president of a marketing company that wasn't able to directly connect with clients because my expenses had gotten so high. I had so many employees. I realized that my calling was to be speaking to mom entrepreneurs and working directly with coaching and consulting them and using my own experience in this work-life balance situation.
I love that.
So I basically closed the physical Chispa marketing office. I took the team virtual. My employees became contractors. And the best part was I fired all the little clients.
Ah, man, we have so many
Yep.
paths to go down right now.
Yep.
I love
So
that. Let me
so
jump
that's
back just a
where I am, Sheila. That's my story.
I love that story, and I love that you share. I mean, you put it in the Cliff Notes version, but I know there's much more to it. And I want to dig in just a little bit deeper. I want to ask you real quickly. So you started your firm early on, and then you had a 6-month-old and another small child. But you thought you were just going to have a couple of clients, and then within 6 months, you had several large clients. How did
It
you
was
get
actually
those
6 weeks.
clients? What's that?
It was 6 weeks.
6 weeks, sorry. That's even okay, so that even really sparks the question. How did you get those clients?
For the previous 10 years, these were all local clients, and I had been very active in my community, and people just saw me at work. And no matter, I have very strong work ethic, and no matter how much I'm getting paid, whether or not it's my job, how long it takes, it doesn't matter. I am very, very committed to my work. And so that reputation and credibility was really how I got that job. It was either people had interacted directly with me, or it was people had heard that I was off on my own and were personally recommending me. So
Oh,
I was landing, they were literally falling on my lap.
and that is not just luck. That is that you spent years building your network and relationships. And I love that.
It's funny because my business coach for many years had to argue that point to me because I kept saying I'm just lucky, I'm just blessed, and he kept saying no, you're not. You worked really, really hard for it, and of course now I definitely see it. So absolutely, I did. I didn't realize that that's what I was doing, but that's only because of the way that I treat relationships, and I treat relationships for long term, and I'm very, very committed to my work.
I love that. And relationships are key. And it doesn't matter if you have an online business or an offline business. People do business with people. And you
Absolutely.
need relationships. Well, let me ask you this. So you've recently changed your business model. You like you said, you've gone virtual. You got rid of all your small clients. Let's talk about how you made that transition and how has it been for you with the change?
It was really hard. Last year was a very tough year. We take a week-long family vacation, my entire family. And in case you haven't noticed, well, you heard it in the intro, but I am Cuban American, so that's why I have the cute accent, like everybody says. The whole entire family takes a beach vacation every year. And I will tell you, this is probably the first vacation I did not enjoy because it was during that vacation where I thought long and hard about what I wanted to do. And I knew that it was going to be a blow to my ego. I was going to be affecting the lives of 5 people, not only their lives, but their families. So there was a lot, what people were going to think and say, my reputation, my credibility, all of that. But when I kept digging deeper, I realized that it was what was right for me. And it was going to be right for my employees because I had something bigger to share and my true vocation, which I know we'll talk about in a minute with Luly B Inc. So the transition was a very, very difficult one, but I was very strategic about it. I pulled each of my team members aside personally, gave them many options. I was very, very good to them. They all, thankfully, were very, very supportive and backed me on this decision. And it was a 3-month long process. So, obviously the first thing was calling each of the clients, letting them know, assuring them, for the larger clients, what the transition was going to look like. I worked harder than ever during that time because I wanted to ensure my clients that although this was going to be a change that I was making, that it wasn't going to affect the value of the service that we were providing, which I think is really important. And at the end of the day, with all of this strategy, of course, came a lot of heartache and a lot of change. But can I tell you that my last day in my physical office was August 30th. I have never been happier. I feel so free. I feel like I finally have control of what I want to do and how I'm doing it, the value of service that I'm providing, and the kinds of clients that I want.
I love that. So when you said you fired some of your smaller clients, were you really kind of weeding it down and saying, I am only going to work with people who are really my ideal clients? So before, did you take
Amen.
on so my guess is you took on a lot of work and some of it wasn't really your core work.
That's right, because I think as entrepreneurs, especially if we have employees and a lot of expenses, we kind of get caught up in that really doesn't align with either my expertise or the services that I want to provide or even the type of client that I want. But because I was busy paying bills, I kind of got a little bit sidetracked. And that was what was so beautiful about what I did with my business, is that now I have the control and people can now beg me to hire, for me to be hired.
Right.
It's kind of the wheels, the tables have definitely turned, Sheila.
I love that. And I think it took a lot of courage for you to go, okay, I have a successful business, but I want to change. I mean, I want something more for me. And we as women and mompreneurs, we don't always do that. We don't always put ourselves first. And it sounds like you did. You put yourself and your family first. But I'm sure that was a tough piece to bite off.
It sure was. I have goosebumps right now. I wish I could show you, but I do. It was a very very difficult decision, and thankfully, I have a very supportive husband. I have great friends and great colleagues, other fellow mompreneurs and other entrepreneurs. I'm involved in a lot of mastermind groups and a lot of great networking organizations where I've developed a solid army of people. And I vented with them. I asked them for advice. And at the end of the day, I knew that this was right for me. And I had to take the risk. And that's what being an entrepreneur is all about.
Absolutely. There was
The worst,
fear. Yeah.
oh, big time. Well, the word entrepreneur actually comes from the French to take risk. So
Yep.
it's like, if I'm going to call myself an entrepreneur, I kind of have to take the risk.
Yep. I love that. So let's talk about today. Let's talk about your new company, Luly B Inc. So what is it? What is your plan? And what are you doing with it?
Well, what's so great about what I did with Chispa Marketing is that I can still have all of those great clients. I have a great team behind me, but I can also focus on Luly B Inc., where I work with mompreneurs who are struggling the same way I was. They want to create this business, or they want to grow the business, but they don't want their family to suffer the consequences. They don't want to feel that constant struggle every day. So what I say is, you're always going to feel that struggle. What we're going to do is we're going to minimize that, because what we're going to look at first is we're going to determine how much money do you want to make per month? What are you comfortable making? And how many hours do you want to work a week? And when are you available?
Yep.
And develop your business that way, instead of what I did, which was get all these clients and then try to figure it out. So kind of learning from my mistakes, I think is really exciting, because obviously I share a lot of embarrassing mistakes that I've made, but I know that it will definitely benefit a lot of women in the long run.
Absolutely. And it shows that you're human. And again, we want to do business with people, human people. Humans, real humans. Well, let me ask you this: how has it affected your family? So moving from shutting down your actual physical firm to doing the online consulting and the Luly B Inc. How has that changed with your work life success and rhythm?
I've been very, very open with my children. My children are now 9 and 7, and I've always told them that mommy works because I love what I do. but I love them even more. And because I love them, I work, and it allows us a lot of privileges and opportunities to have the wonderful family vacations and the school that they attend and the extracurricular activities that they go to. And I think we have a hard time as women saying that because we don't like to talk about money and making conversations materialistic, but I don't think that's what it's about. I'm teaching my children that you can own your destiny and that we live in the best country to own your own business. So my kids always understood that. I did miss out on several big, you know, things in their lives, but they always were understanding because I was so open with them. And I think also what I did before and after also helped. So, you know, if I was going to miss a big baseball game, I made sure that my husband was going to be there and the whole Cuban posse was going to be there as well. To surround my children with love so that they don't feel like mommy is not there.
Right.
And I would ask my husband to videotape the whole game. And then we would watch the whole game on video, and I would make homemade popcorn, which my kids love, and we would make it a celebration. So for them, yes, they struggled sometimes with it, and they would ask me, you know, my friend's mommy doesn't work, and so mommy doesn't work, and you do, and blah blah blah. So I think what's happened now is I pick up my kids from school every Friday. I have friends of theirs over, or I take them to friends' houses. I'm able to have a lot more flexibility in the afternoons. I shut off my computer between 4 and 5 p.m. every single day, and I do not look at it until I've put my children to bed.
I love that.
And I'll just catch up on emails or something. And it used to be where I would have my laptop on my counter as we were having dinner and as we were eating. I mean, that's just no way to live your life.
I love that you said that. I totally agree. I truly believe that you can have it all. Some people go, oh, women, you can't have it all. I believe you can. You have to define what your all is.
Absolutely.
And then you have to figure out a way to schedule things in and make it happen. You know, we all have the same amount of hours in a day. You have to decide how you want to spend those hours. But defining it is huge.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, it's funny because sometimes I hear somebody say, well, I don't have the money. And when I look at them, they have Ferragamo shoes and a Louis Vuitton purse. And I'm thinking, well, that's about $1,000 on you right now. So don't tell me you don't have any money. You know, Susie speaks a lot about that. And I'll say that the same thing for time. People will say, well, I don't have the time for that. Or, oh my God, I'm so busy. Well, if I really analyze your day, I'm sure that I can find some great chunks of time. Just like if I analyze your bank account and your closet, I can find some good chunks of cash that you can, you know, that you can re-allot basically. And for time especially, I think you need to be very organized. You need to have schedules, and you need to be very regimented about it. And if you are, it's totally doable.
Yeah, now, you know, some people freak out. I recently wrote a post about this as well, because some people freak out. Oh, no, it's too conforming to schedule things. But what they find once they get it done is they actually have more flexibility in their schedule. They're no longer flying by the seat of their pants. Things are scheduled in, and they really do have time for themselves and their family.
That's right. And I actually read that post. And what got me thinking about it too is that if you do schedule all of that, you're going to end up having the free time, which allows for free time for creativity, to run errands, to get other stuff done. And what will end up happening is that you will be ahead of the game. And there's nothing better than that.
Oh, I agree. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about your book. I want to know how the writing process was for you. Are you a natural born writer? What systems did you use to get that done? So let's focus on your book just a little bit.
Sure. Well, when I got started with Luly B Inc., the consultant that I hired, I spent a full day with her. She basically specializes in helping speakers create a business out of speaking. And one of the things that she told me in our full day session was that I should write a book about my story because my story was compelling. I argued with that because I don't have this big life-altering experience like a lot of these inspirational books have. So my story, I felt, was a little bit too simple and not that big of a deal. So I questioned it a lot. And I think that that's probably the first step. A lot of people that are maybe even watching this interview that are considering writing a book may be going through the same thing. Until I spoke to a friend of mine who's a fellow mom entrepreneur who I've not noticing, I've coached her for the past couple years as she's developed her business. And she said to me, Luly, you need to share your story. You need to share your advice. So I basically sat down and just outlined the different points that I wanted to make, and the kinds of things that I wanted people to know about my life to set the stage so that they would understand who I am and what I'm about, so that when they read my story, it would resonate a little bit more. And that was really the focus of the book. The book was all about, you know, here's a quick 20 to 30-minute read. You're not alone. That's why balance is BS. Get over the balance. Do what makes you happy. Make it work. And at the end of the day, that's what's important, because the majority of us go into business to have that flexibility, because we love what we do, but we also love our families.
I love that.
So I basically outlined, Sheila, and then I just started writing underneath each of the outline points. I wrote that book in about 6 weeks. I dedicated myself a lot to it, but I also put it down for a few days and then brought it back, gave it to somebody who didn't know me, gave it to somebody who did know me, and was very open to that feedback. And I think that helped as well.
Oh, that's terrific. Now, what systems did you use as far as, like, did you write it just in a Word document and send it to like your editor and put it up?
I did the good old fashioned 1980s style Microsoft Word.
Love it.
I do believe that I'm a natural born writer. I remember as a child, and I actually mentioned that in my book, I would sit in my grandmother's bed on yellow steno notepads and just write stories. I've always been very creative, so writing was very easy to me. And I knew that this book was not a New York Times bestseller, and I didn't want to get caught up either on making it perfect, because the pursuit of perfection prevents progress.
I agree.
So that's not what I wanted. I just wanted something that was very free flowing. Here's a conversation with me. This is what I've gone through, and hopefully it will motivate you. It will inspire you. And that's it. It's not something that I'm going to make a ton of money off of, because that's not what it was about for me. It was really more about just resonating and connecting.
Yeah, I love that. Excuse me. Let me ask you this. So from going from a physical business and office, moving everything online, how did you do that? Like, what tools did you use? I know now everyone's virtual. What type of systems do you have in place? Because I think probably to do some of those things, you had to be pretty organized and systemized. So what do you use to run your business? How do you work?
Well, we have Basecamp, which is basically a project management tool. And that really helps from the marketing side of business, where all of my contractors can go in, log, and determine the next task, the milestone, the deadline, and notes, etc. We also have follow-up calls, which are very important, and weekly update emails, where we basically recap to one another all of the tasks that have been done, and then what are the tasks that are the big priorities for the following week. And that also helps, because then it helps, all of those are due to me by Fridays, so that then that helps me over the weekend quickly analyze what things need to get done by Monday for the client or for the next project. So I think Basecamp has been huge, and I absolutely love Evernote. Evernote's great because I will be at a conference, for example, and I'll think about a blog topic and I will just put it into Evernote. Or I'll be at a red light and see a billboard of this great marketing campaign that I want to mention in my next blog. I'll put it on there, or I want to, put it on a social media outlet. So I think Evernote and Basecamp are my two big ones.
Oh, I love that. Let me ask you this. If you had someone that's struggling with, okay, I'm a mom, I want to have a business, what advice would you give that person? So just starting out, not sure that they can do it, what advice would you give her?
First, I would say go for it. But before you go for it, basically just quickly go through your family finances. What is the least amount of money that you would need to bring in per month for your family to be comfortable? I think it's important, if you're married or you have a partner or a spouse, to have that conversation with them, because it can be very difficult. It may be very easy, but having that conversation and getting them on board is very, very important. And I would say create your business while you have the job. That, if you have a job and you're considering going off on your own, kind of do the two for a few months, get a sense of what your clients would be like. And actually that would lead me to my next one. Create a client avatar, which is, what does this client look like? You know, what magazines do they read? What car do they drive? What house do they live in? How many children do they have? What do they feel? What are their challenges?
Love it.
And at the end of the day, that will help you get to know your ideal client and be able to connect with them at a deeper level and attract the right ones.
Love it.
I think the finance thing is absolutely the most important, and the timing, how much time it's going to take.
It's huge. I heard someone say the other day that consider, maybe, I know maybe you have to continue with your job, like you said, consider it like your angel investor in your business. So yes, you have to do it for a while, but instead of thinking, oh God, I've got to stay at this job, it's your angel investor. Right. Terrific. Hey, listen, if someone wanted to connect with you, where would you want to send them?
I would love for them to go onto my website, lulyb.com, and it's Luly, be like boy.com. I actually have a great mindset makeover on there right now, Sheila. It's a video series where I give some great pointers through a 30-day process of kind of detoxifying ourselves of these negative thoughts, because I think a lot of the challenges that we have and the obstacles that we face in our own success are due to our mindset.
I agree. We are our own worst enemies sometimes.
That's right. Absolutely.
Listen, I will link that up. I'll also link up the book. You guys should grab it. It's a quick read, like she said, but it really is, I find it very inspirational which is why I do this show, to share stories, to see that other people have walked the path, and you can too. I love it.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Terrific. Thanks again.
It was a pleasure. This was so much fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You know, the world needs you, so don't underestimate your greatness. If you liked today's episode, you can spread the word by using the share buttons on the side. And if you want to learn how to simplify your life and your business, join the community and get our free updates directly to your inbox.